Good morning to all of you, and thank you, Vijay Krishnan, for the flattering words. Actually, I was listening to Dr. Arun, and before that, let me thank the KGMOA for giving me this opportunity once again, not to present a topic, but to meet you all once again. It's very like homecoming for me when I meet the doctors of health services. It's exactly 1 year and 3 months retired from the service. Dr. Arun's very interesting and informative talk. In that one caption which caught me was when to retire. Usually people who have adorned the post like me, even after they retire, they take up some post somewhere, either in the government or in the private. But somehow I managed to escape. So Dr. Arun was asking when to retire. I thought it's the best time to retire when you're 60 and people know that you're 60. You don't hide your age anyway after you retire. And actually it was not a pre-planned thing that after retirement I will not do anything. I thought right from my 2004-05 I became the state secretary of IIT, and then after 3.5 years I became the state president of IIT. It's a hectic schedule for me. After that, immediately Sri teacher made me the DMO of Kannur. And then somehow I kept on climbing the ladder and reached PHS post. You all know it's a hot post. After that, the project director of SACS. In between COVID, the pandemic, I had a lot of responsibilities. So once when I retired, I thought I take a 3-month layoff and then decide my future whether I should go what work I should. But that 3-month layoff gave me such peace and relaxation in my mind and body. I thought it's better not to work in. Though I had a lot of invites from the government as well as the private. Private sector was ruled out because after working almost 30 years in the government sector, it is not easy to go into the private sector culture, which is not to my liking. So that was ruled out. So I thought we'll relax. Now I'm enjoying my relaxed life for the last 1 year, 1 year and 3 months. So Dr. Arun's statement, when to retire, it's, everyone won't have the luxury of retiring and relaxing at home. But I can pursue my passions. Now I'm here with you. I have fond memories of, all of you are very familiar to me, and I have very fond memories of working with you. So I'm extremely happy to get this opportunity to be here. The topic is ignite a leader in you. Yes, the leadership is that. It is just not for the administrative cadre. We have 3 cadres. It's just not for the administrative cadre or the general cadre where you are the head of the institution. But even in specialty cadre, you are a leader. You should understand. So all the cadres we have in our department, whether it is the general cadre, whether it's the administrative cadre or the specialty cadre, each one of you are a leader. Definitely, there is no doubt about it. So, what is leadership? Slightly. No. It's not moving. So the topic is ignite the leader in you, but I'm sure that it's a big challenge for me to finish this topic in 30 minutes because it's actually a 5-day. I attended a 5-day training session at the National Institute of Health and Family Welfare way back when I was a DMO. I'm not sure whether the present DMOs or the administrative cadre officers have that luxury of going to premier institutions of the country to get trained. I was lucky to get trained at the National Institute of Health and Family Welfare. And this topic was dealt in 5 days. And then I had to finish in 30 minutes. It's a challenge, let us see. So what is leadership? There are a lot of definitions in if you scan through the literature, you get a lot of definitions about what is a leader or what is leadership. Basically, it is, see, you all have a lot of people working with you. And in any institution, whether it is in the health or any other place, even in sports, where only a captain cannot win the game. It's a teamwork. So there are a lot of people working with you. And the leadership quality is how you get the best of their ability. It's just not getting the best of their ability, but also to achieve the goals and objectives of your organization or your institution. So if you are working in a primary health center, or a community health center, or a taluka hospital, or a general or district hospital, or you are working in a district medical office or the Directorate of Health Services, you have a team. And your leadership will be seen as how you make them work to the best of their ability, so that your institution reaches or achieves its objectives and goals. That is the definition. And how you get it is of different ways. That is what we are going to say in another 20-25 minutes. So why leadership is important? Why do we talk about the leadership? Because the leadership actually defines the work culture in the organization. When I was a district medical officer, I knew which primary health center will function from 9 o'clock. I knew which of the primary health centers or the community health centers or other hospitals will achieve their goals. Because I knew who the leader was there. I know many of the institutions which was functioning very poorly, all of a sudden started functioning very effectively because there was a leadership change. A new medical officer in charge comes and brings in his work culture, and all of a sudden that institution becomes one of the best serving institutions. So what I mean to say is, the leadership actually defines the work culture. If there's a good leadership at any institution, what and all responsibilities an institution has will be on time, will be in place, and there will be quality of services there. So the leadership actually gives a work culture in the organization, and the beliefs and attitudes of the leadership are reflected in the organizational policies, the values, and the work style, everything. Even the staff there. See, our institutions, we always think that we have to satisfy our patients. Many people come to our OP, many people get admitted. Yeah, definitely our priority is our patients, no doubt about it. But as a leader, to have a good work culture, you should also understand that what work culture, what atmosphere you're giving to your subordinate staff to work there comfortably and happily. Because if they work comfortably and happily only, we will be able to achieve the objectives and goals of our organization. So, taking care of our staff is also one of the part of our work culture, which sometimes we neglect. Not only we, even our higher-ups. Now, what is the problem in the health department? Now, when I am seeing from sitting outside the department for the last 1 year, what I am observing is a lot of good changes are taking place in the department. Over the years, different governments have different policies, but all of them are trying to improve the facilities of our institutions. All of them are improving the services of the institutions by bringing in newer specialities, super specialities in the district hospital, general hospital, taluka hospital. The primary health center is converted to family health centers. So these are good things. But even our higher-ups, they are not bothered about the comfort and happiness of our staff. That is why they are not posting additional staff. With the improvement of the facilities and infrastructure, naturally it has to be reinforced with more human resources, whether it is doctors, or any other staff. But if that is not happening, then normally the workload will increase and the comfort level of the staff working there will go down, and that will affect the work culture. So this work culture has to be defined right from bottom to the top, right from the medical officer level to the Director of Health Services, to the Health Secretary, to the Minister. Everyone has to think about this work culture. So let's see what, this is all theory, I'm not going to on details. Just for information, what are the attributes of a good leader? Whether if you're working in a primary health center or a community health center or a district hospital or in a general or in a KGMOA or the Directorate of Health Services, you need to have all these attributes. I'm not going to read one by one, you can read it. This is all. But at the top, I put knowledge. Of course, positive attitude, communication skills, dynamic, all these are very important. But a leader will be a leader only if you have knowledge. And what is knowledge? Knowledge means it is just not your Harrison or your Hutchison or your William all those, not just that. Yes, of course we should have the professional knowledge. There's no doubt about it. But there are other aspects of the knowledge also. The knowledge of our professional work is one important thing. Second thing is we should have the knowledge of rules and regulations which we are bound to. As a medical officer in charge of any institution, if you don't know the rules and regulations, then you have to depend upon your clerk. You may be misguided by him. You may have to rely on your pharmacist on the store purchase rules. You may be misguided. And you may be dependent upon staff nurse or the head nurse for sanitation and other things. Even your nursing assistant may teach you about so many things. But if you are a leader, you need to be knowledgeable about the rules and regulations you have. That's one thing. Second knowledge, which I give importance, is you should have a good knowledge of how to handle people. When I say how to handle people, when you are an institutional leader, the biggest challenge is how you manage your human resources, how you manage the politicians around you, how do you manage the media persons around you, how do you manage the local people, how do you manage the patients and the bystanders. So all aspects have to be, and all this comes through experience or by learning from others or seeing from others, or also looking into examples of the experience of others. So how you manage your human resources is the most key thing of your leadership quality. Because in human resources, especially in health department, it is somewhat very diversity, unlike other departments. We have so many categories of staff under us. Even doctors, we have 3 categories, isn't it? The administrative cadre, the general cadre, and the specialty cadre. You have so many other categories of staff under you. No other department will have so many other categories, this much of categories of people around you. So it's a big challenge to be a leader of the institution, whether it is a primary health center or the Director of Health Services. So that knowledge of handling people is very important, whether it is your superior people, is whether your subordinates. But I'll tell you from my experience, the most difficult people to handle is your own peer group. നമ്മളോട് ഒരുമിച്ച് ഹോസ്റ്റലിൽ പഠിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഒരുമിച്ച് ഹോസ്റ്റലിൽ താമസിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. നമ്മളൊരു ബാച്ച്മേറ്റ്സ് ആയിരിക്കാം, ഐവേ മീറ്റിംഗ്സിലെ ക്ലാസ്മേറ്റ്സ് ആയിരിക്കാം. അങ്ങനത്തെ വരെ നമ്മൾ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനിൽ ഒരുമിച്ച് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ യു ആർ ദ ഹെഡ് ഓഫ് ദ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ. 9 മണിക്ക് വരേണ്ട സമയത്ത് വരേണ്ട ആൾ 10 മണിക്ക് വന്നാൽ ഹൗ ഡു യു മാനേജ് ദം? പറയാൻ പറ്റുമോ? അവരോട് പറഞ്ഞാൽ പോയി പണി നോക്കണമെന്നല്ലേ പറഞ്ഞാൽ. So how to manage this peer group will be the biggest challenge. For that I can only advise you, you be the role model, reach there by what time you, 8 മണിക്ക് എത്തുന്ന സ്ഥലത്ത് 8 മണിക്ക് എത്തുക, 9 മണിക്ക് എത്തുന്ന സ്ഥലത്ത് ലീഡർ 9 മണിക്ക് എത്തുക. Then other people will start following your line. Of course, the superiors എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമ്മളെ മേലധികാരികളെ നമ്മൾ എങ്ങനെ, how to handle them. It's not handling, actually how to behave with them. I always have felt that is also a very, very challenging thing, because അത് 2-3 ടൈപ്പ് ഓഫ് ഹാൻഡ്ലിംഗ് ഉണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ ഒരിക്കലും ഞാൻ പറയും, ആരെങ്കിലും മണിയടിക്കാൻ പോയത് സുപ്പീരിയേഴ്സ് മണിയടിച്ചിട്ട് അത് ഒരു പെർമനന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു സൊല്യൂഷനാണെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കാം. കാരണം സുപ്പീരിയേഴ്സ് മണ്ടന്മാരൊന്നുമല്ല, അവർക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ പറ്റും നിങ്ങൾ മണിയടിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ്. To superiors, the only thing what you have to do is do your work perfectly, on time, reporting of the report here, and we are maintain a good discipline. Definitely your superiors will recognize you. You don't have to do any other extra effort. But the Avishallata you will better solve it. And how to handle your subordinate staff? Again, there are a lot of leadership styles. You can be autocratic, you can be paternalistic, you can be a democratic type. But your leadership should be a combination of all this. Autocratic, autocratic paternalistic or caring leader caring and sometimes democratic do the best. So your leadership will depend upon the nature of the problem, nature of the situation. So you can choose anyone or the combination of that. But ideally, in the situations, what I felt is when I went on to join the service, I can be DMO DMO institutional development DMO potentially. DMO conference things have changed. It's not the same. But it's good. We cannot bully our subordinate staff. Try to be a friend, philosopher, guide and mentor to your subordinate staff. By and large, they will give you the best result. No doubt about it. But by and large, you be a mentor, philosopher, and guide, and you can see the business. Of course, positive attitude. When you are a leader, definitely you need to have attitude. What is positive attitude? Positive attitude is when there is a task in front of you, your first thought in mind is how I do it. And how I do it and get the best results. That is positive attitude. Or a task, your first thought should not be how to find out reasons. If you want to find out reasons of not doing anything, definitely you can find thousands of reasons. Other than attitude. So as a leader, you should have a positive attitude and instill a positive attitude in your team members. And a good communication skill. A leader should have a very good communication skill. The communication skill is a big topic. IMA State President Dr. Joseph Benavan has made me the chairman of Communication Skill Committee of IMA. We will definitely take a lot of sessions. We have 15 good master trainers who have been trained by the Indian Institute of Public Health Communication, New Delhi. We have sessions there. And all the other things I am not going in detail. The leadership should be flexible. Everyone flexible icon. See, we are bound by a lot of rules and regulations. We have to be flexible. At the same time, we should ensure that how the rules are flexible. I am not saying that we should break the rules and land in trouble. The rules have to be flexible. You have to be flexible in your thoughts. Way back in 1993 or 95, when I was a medical officer on one of the PHCs, I was school 95. And PHC to 1 be in down. DM POL charges vaccination centers like outlets like vaccinating 1 deal. Block PSC spare 1 deal. So I had to hire a vehicle. I hired a vehicle. POL paisa hire auto rickshaw hire. And that clerk was auto rickshaw. POL was 1 day hire. That is where your leadership comes. The opportunity of flexibility. Then I asked him, we have 1 day in India. 1 day vaccine. So I hired an auto rickshaw and I wrote in the file, since the vehicle was not provided, I hired a vehicle and I'm using this. I didn't get any audit objection in that case. So that is leadership flexibility where rules and regulations are followed here, but at the same time, certain situations you can be flexible, but you should be reasonable and justified. Thinking out of the box. Sometimes you need to think very much out of the box. A tubular vision or a corridor vision, you have to think out of the box. In many of the situations, you'll have to think out of the box and then you will find the difference. You should be fair to all. As a leader, fair. In institution work, of course, pets and favorites. It's natural. But as a leader, when a situation comes to take decisions or judge something, you should be fair. Everyone are welcome. People will recognize you and respect you. Persevere in leadership. Example, I one of the medical officer in one institution, all DMO conference extra lab technician. And I used to ask him to keep quiet. Our HR policy doesn't allow more than one lab technician in your institution. One lab technician petrol. And he kept on repeating in every conference. Why this fellow is always asking me, I want one more lab technician, one more lab technician. Then I institution visited. And I went and there I saw a beautiful lab there. Or the HMC lab set. And they wanted to extend that lab services from afternoon to evening. Other lab technician would extra order. Then I understood. It is a necessity of that institution. And then again I spoke to the DPM. Somehow I managed to get one NHMLT there. And that institution, actually our service is improving. But that was because that leader in that institution, that medical officer, had that leadership quality. He wanted to have the services improved. Our perseverance is attractive. He kept on asking. That is perseverance and he wanted. So perseverance also. You should be supportive, courageous, assertive, all are self-explanatory. Due to course of time, I am not delaying it. Yes. As I said, leadership in healthcare is unique as when compared to any other institutions. Because multiple stakeholders in it. Multiple stakeholders. Staff doctors and different staff categories in them. Patients and bystanders. It's a big challenge to satisfy them. There are managers, bureaucrats. Primary health center, CHC work what this bureaucracy is. But when you go up, I never knew what was this till I became a DMO. To be very frank. When I was working in a PHC or a CHC, I never knew who was the health secretary. I'm very frank. In the Naura health secretary. She had DMO appreciation in my slide. Naura health secretary, how he or she can. No more comments. And politicians, of course, primary health center level, we know how politicians can make us or break us. A politician will transfer. A politician will transfer. He or she can make our life hell or very good also. How to say no. Dr. Arvind, previous session, I was listening. How to say no assertively. Politicians in daily and just one or two tips. Dr. Arvind, how to say no. Sometimes you should say assertively no to these politicians. These politicians you all might have experienced. One color certificate is color certificate. And we know that that certificate cannot be issued. How do you handle this situation? We should not get angry. In any situation, we should not argue. If you get angry or argue with a politician, then he or she will make your life here. And they are very powerful. And then other than that, he cannot do or she cannot do anything for them. But the reality is, they can do. But you have to be smart. You have to be smart enough that they don't get angry with you. Or you don't get into the bad books of them. I said, assertive no. If a color certificate you can very well polite because in the medical council regulations and either now I challenge I will be in trouble and my registration will go, I can't practice medicine. That's what President so that guy is not offended. Got my point? Color certificate in the argue certificate I have seen it. So, we have a color certificate, another issue. So, how to deal with politicians? Only one tip: don't argue with them, don't make them angry. But say no where to say no. Okay, that's what you should. I'm sorry, I take another 5 minutes. Advocacy groups, media handling is also one area where you should be careful. Politicians are probably you should have good friends in media. Media because again they are very powerful. And you are not that strong enough to buy them. So media also same just like politicians. Try to be friendly with them, never get angry with them, but you can also help them. They can help you. Even though the media people ask me, society media calls, even 2 days back media called me to take some clarification on the program. We give them the correct data, never going any controversy. Fact, they will be happy with us. Never ignore them. So a leader must communicate effectively, get out of the corner office. PSC or CSC or district hospital like in charge medical officer always visit your institution. Keep on visiting every corner of your institution. You will find so many things to do. Don't depend on others to come and tell you. You should have your own assessment. Keep on moving. If you are a DMO or a deputy DMO, you have to keep on visiting the institutions so that you can understand what is happening there. So move out of the comfort of the corner office. A team culture, motivate others, visit your branches to one another, visit your institutions. One thing is don't micromanage. Either advice, don't micromanage everything in your institution. Let your pharmacists do something. Let your staff nurse do. Let your nursing assistant do. Even your part-time super. Let your other subordinate staff do anything they do. Just observe. And every day change don't try to micromanage. Micromanage for asking everyone to do what I want. Or situation the system will fail. That I have seen it even at the highest level. When some of the bureaucrats have tried to micromanage so many things, even the DHS and the additional directors are helpless. So that is, as you, from my eyes, I have experienced it. One would never micromanage as a leader. That's not a good leadership quality. And praise your staff. Apple staff praise their praising is a motivation for them to do. And for others to also a motivation to get your place. So that will increase their efficiency and also they enjoy it. So you have to make a decision. Decision making and leadership is a skill. Here again, whenever a problem comes to you, you have to take a decision. That is leadership. Another, if you are not taking a decision, if you are passing it off, that is not leadership. You have to take leadership. A decision, എടുത്താൽ ശരിയാവാം തെറ്റാം. തെറ്റിപ്പോകുന്ന വിചാരിച്ചിട്ട് decision എടുക്കാതിരിക്കുന്നത്, that is not leadership. By your experience only you will know which decision is right and which is wrong. ഇപ്പോൾ cricket match നോക്കൂ, toss ജയിച്ചിട്ട് batting തിരഞ്ഞെടുത്തിട്ട് കളി തോറ്റു. That pitch was not good for first batting. But that happens only after the match. You can only say retrospectively. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ ലൈഫിൽ, നമ്മുടെ പ്രൊഫഷണൽ ലൈഫിൽ നമ്മൾ ചില തീരുമാനങ്ങൾ എടുക്കുന്നത് ശരിയാണോ തെറ്റാണോ എന്ന് we will know later. But taking a decision is leadership. Leadership, decision എടുക്കാതിരിക്കുന്നത് leadership. Good planning, problem solving, and leadership is always should follow ethics and social responsibility. Creative innovation, and last is very important. Systems thinking. നമ്മുടെ സിസ്റ്റം എങ്ങനെ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നു അതനുസരിച്ച് നമ്മൾ ആലോചിച്ചിട്ട് വേണം മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാൻ. We cannot have utopian ideas of our own. നമ്മുടെ സിസ്റ്റം എങ്ങനെ, നമ്മുടെ ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റിന്റെ, നമ്മുടെ ഗവൺമെന്റിന്റെ പോളിസി എന്താണ്, അതനുസരിച്ച് മാത്രം നമുക്ക് മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാൻ പറ്റും. This is what I always like to say, boss versus leader. Never try to be a boss, but always try to be a leader. I'm not going to read all of those things. You all know what is the difference between a leader and a boss. So don't try to be a boss. Nobody likes you to be a boss. Everyone wants you to be a leader. As I said, human resource management is the most effective use of capital for the organization. And I already mentioned about it. Your human resource management will define your leadership quality. And the management of getting things done by the people is a continuous process. It should be result oriented. It should be result oriented. For the PHC area, or outbreak or the disease outbreak or your health inspector and the junior health inspector, JPHs, ASHA workers, they have to work as a team. And they have to find out what is the reason of the outbreak and you have to control that outbreak. That's what we know. We say it's a group activity, it's a result oriented, it's a multidisciplinary nature, and also it should be following established principles and rules. How do you know the established principles and rules? And it is situation in nature and always dynamic. I have a lot of examples to quote, but unfortunately, because of time, I'm not able to give you so many examples. I have a lot of examples of such things. This is what we do usually. We try to make people do mechanically so many things, but that is not the leadership. It is actually how we direct them and how we inspire them to do the work. So if you want your field staff or your any other categories of staff to work, please direct them, please inspire them and motivate them to do their work. And never be an ophthalmologist. You know what is an ophthalmologist? Eye specialist. It is not E-Y-E, eye. Never be an eye specialist, you always be a V specialist, okay? So, teamwork is less me and more me. Dr. Arun was saying about the burnt out syndrome. We try to do everything by our own. We institution and leader, we will take all the responsibility and we will try to do everything. Even if you see a gate to put under responsibility, I've seen. That's not the way. That's not a good leadership. Build a team, delegate duties, and a leader should be smart. That's smart work. So So for motivating your staff, you be a good example, develop and maintain good personal relationship. Always use a participatory style, involve everyone in taking the decisions. Guide, encourage and support others, and always reward a good work. And if you do that, a motivated staff will always show enthusiasm and positive attitude and believe that their participation is important. And works well with here it is branch leaders. I think this was for IMA leadership, that's why it is from the branch, but for your institution. Willingly takes part in planning, performing and evaluating the activities of the institution. Here, slide over just 1 minute for this slide. This is very important in HR management. Ningalude work in staff in at any level, directorate to PSC level, there will be 4 types of people. And that depends upon the job maturity and psychological maturity. Shariker graph, I could have explained. Job maturity means knowledge and skill required for the job. Psychological maturity means willingness to do the work and work committed, how motivated that person is. But is it under maturity? We can categorize our staff into 4 categories. One category A is very high level of job maturity as well as psychological maturity. That means our job areas, they are skillful and they are also motivated to do work, willingness, attitude. They are the best. They will be only 20%. 20%. And they are the most dependable people in your office or your hospital. You can delegate them any work. Very dependable people. 20%. The next category comes 35%, that is job maturity. That means they are knowledgeable and skillful, but they don't have much of psychological maturity. Means they are not motivated. They are not having that attitude or aptitude. Jolly on night, they are 35%. Angante alkare jolly korayumo, udane namme memo adichu. Never do that. Never do that. As a leader, you should understand. I understand that they have some emotional issues, they have some personal problems. As a leader, you can talk to them personally, motivate them. Our problem from your personal side, if you can intervene and make them comfortable, I am telling you, they will become very good workers. So, motivation, not memo. One category is psychological maturity. They are willing to work. Somehow their jobs, knowledge and skill korchu paruvana. So they are already motivated. So they want a training. If you understand that they are motivated to do work, they are staff, so give them the training. They will become very good staff. Again, training is important, not the memo. But throughout my career as a DMO and DHS, I use memo very well, I can say. I never believed in memo. I didn't believe in it because I knew that it is not going to serve any purpose. So that was the 3rd category. And the 4th category, both job maturity and psychological maturity, 0. Anganda will be 35, 20, 10%. Our 10% are the memo group. Our then are now. Our Joli are Joli and Alpin, Metal Mosha. But memo punishment transfer, punishment is here, that is the best. Anganda punishment for the bosses, the leader is strong. Punishment or fear. So that 10% you can ignore. Because the problem in our system is we try to improve that 10%. And we don't try to improve that 70% which I said, who needs training or motivation. So just think about it. When you go, whenever you evaluate a work in your institution of good performance or bad performance, if you see any bad performance, don't jump into a conclusion that our conclusion is whether just evaluate whether they need some training or whether they need some more. That's the leadership. There's a very good book of 8 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I think you should read it. 8 habits. I have read that book. Earlier it was 7 habits, now the 8th habit. If you can read this 8 habits of Stephen Covey, I think you'll get a lot of things in it. I will not explain all the 8 habits, and I will recommend you read it. All of you should read it. Your institution should see these 9 C's: confidence, communication, character, competence, credibility, creativity, cooperation, customer relevance, and coherence. This customer relevance is very important in health services. We need to take care of our patients, all the clients who are coming to our institutions. We should look into their comfort, there is no doubt about it. So, leadership is action and not position. So, when you are in a position as a PHC medical officer or a family health center medical officer or a DMO or a hospital superintendent, or one of you can become a director of health service also. So, there it is not position. People should remember you after you leave the place. Yes, you did something. Like we remember session. TN session election commission TN session election commission we all remember TN session. Why? Because he showed that leadership is action and not position. So same thing you should also try to emulate. When you go, people should remember you for your action, not for your position. And always don't compromise on quality. Whatever you do, it should be quality. Whatever you do, quality, that's fun. And always a smile on your face gives confidence to anyone, whether it's your patient, whether it's your bystander, whether it is a visitor, whether it is your staff, anyone who is sitting opposite you. A smile on your face will always give confidence to that person that yes, this person is going to hear me. And I will stop here. If you can fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. So my dear friends, keep on moving forward. And I am the person who will not say that end of something no. My time is over. End of DHS in the time guiding. Like I heard Kapil Dev's interview a few days back. Someone asked him, 1983 in the World Cup Russia India final with Turkey. Kapil Dev said the right thing. Kapil Dev said, no, don't compare 83 and 2023. That time, Naura, Annetha Karam Ipo Padinte Karilla. Innetha Karam is different. Similarly, I say, my period is over. So that is over. Now it is the next generation time. So it's your time now. So make it count. When as a leader, just keep moving forward. And leadership and learning are indispensable. Keep on learning new things. And this is what, as a leader. Some people bring happiness wherever they go. And some people bring happiness whenever they go. So, if you have a DMO conference, you have staff. So, always inculcate in you that character, that wherever you go, you bring happiness, and not that whenever you go, will bring happiness. So, thank you once again for giving me support, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh, for that marvelous, awe-inspiring presentation.